It should be soon, or it should be live now. See, what was it called? What? No, not Dune. There it is. Oh yes, I love this. I still love this video. Well, I'm live. I'm going to actually set this to showing my. Oh, okay. Oh, shit. I didn't know I was going straight in this way. Hold up. Yeah, that's gonna take a while. It's gonna take quite some time. That this. I didn't think this through again. Okay. Hey, no. I didn't want you to play it. I was just trying to. Okay, hold up. Slow down. Just in order I can make sure it's not gonna play it. There. Alright. So please make sure everybody's notified that I'm live. I should probably grab the link. Alright. So I've got the first thing set up. Oh great, I got a nice splice on my finger. Oh, that'll be great. This. Quiet. Alright. Copy link. Hi. Alright. Yep, of course. Of course you fucking say hi and then go straight into screaming. I don't even know if you can hear me because I don't even know if it reset back from using my rift or even if I have it set my rift. Yep, you can hear me from my rift. Give me a second. Make it sure that make it so that way you can hear me coming from this thing right there. Everything's reset. Alright. So as the title suggests, I'm gonna be showing a little bit about LARPing and stuff. Hopefully it won't be too boring for some people. Fuck, don't you start yelling, yeah, I'm sure that you probably don't even know what LARPing is. I don't even know why I've still got this thing set up like I do. I need to edit this thing. Oh, I didn't mean to set an icon. I wanted to edit the. Okay, you. It's okay. It's okay, you girl. It's okay. That's my phone. Stop trying to kick it off the bed. Okay. Do you LARP or something? Or are you wanting to try to get into LARPing? You have? I had no clue that you've LARPed before. Here. I don't know why I'm trying to look at the chat on both on my phone and on the PC. I also kind of needed. Now I remember why. It's because I was trying to set it so where you could see the damn screen. Alright. So, let me wait to make sure that you can actually see. Alright, what the fuck did I do? Come on now. Be nice to me, please. I'm trying to get you to fucking function. Here, let me set it to where it's only going to show you display 1. Therefore, we'll be forced to show you this. Alright. So this is the promo for the LARP that I go to. And whenever I start to play it, I'm going to mute myself. But before I mute myself and start it, there's a part in here where there's a guy screaming and running on fire. That is an actor, it is not a player. And I'll explain some of the shit that was in play for safety wise for that part. This is one of the coolest things that I saw, and I watched this 2 years ago before I started. Eventually, I'm going to maybe do like a video on what all I use during game. But first, I've got to get my uniform set up again because I've lost a lot of weight since I last went. All right. Well, I'm going to mute myself. All right. That was the first video. Really? Why? All right. Anyways, that was the first video that I'd ever actually seen of Exodune. Um, I want to put it back on to starting soon, right quick. All right. So yeah, like I said, that was the first video that I'd seen of Exodune. And I never would have found the get Exodune itself without Reddit. I had literally just typed in LARPs near my area. I live in Augusta, Georgia, and the closest LARP was over in, I think it was Aiken, South Carolina, but I didn't really feel like going to South Carolina, so I kept looking around, and I found out that there was one in Atlanta called Exodune, or it's based in Atlanta. Um, yeah, I mean it and once I started going, it was so much fun to go. The people that I've met along, when I go there and whatnot, it's not just a place for people to just go just because they feel like going, and they sit there and they goof around a little bit and whatnot. The people really care about their they really care about the game. The game is They try to keep metagaming as low as possible, and a lot of times there's some really goofy things that go on. The game itself is actually 18 plus. You have to be 18 years or older to go, specifically because there can be some adult content that happens every once in a while. And by once in a while, I mean, let's see, hold up. So I've gone. for I've been a part of the group for a little over a year. I've only been able to go to 3 games because things happen, but they also do a sort of thing where you can put things that you really liked about certain, that event to give um, sorry, my throat, to give ideas to plot, which is what we call the people who, they make stories up, and they run little mods, which is basically just a module, basically meaning it's a small story. And a lot of times they try to build it up into a bigger story. Let me see if I can find player handbook so I can talk through some of that. I made a goof. All right, so what was the name of the LARP that you went to called? I can try to look that one up too. There it is, found it. Player guide, player handbook. The Exodune player handbook itself is like 207 pages long. And that explains the entirety of how the game is played, what the game is, and what like different taglines and strikes mean. I'm not going to go through all of that because most of the stuff I don't really know about. I mean, I'm just now starting to somewhat get a hold of religion because I think there's like 20, 30 different 20 or 30 different gods and goddesses. There's tons of uh, spots of religion. The races I will have to explain, and oh my god, that's gonna suck to talk about is the races. All right, because some of the shits happened. The game started, and I think that was the very first trailer. I think it was started in 2012, and it's still going, and it's still going strong, with like 30, 40 people coming each event. Um, Roleplay is a big thing in this game. Um, they try not to have out of play talking as much as possible. Basically, you're told to try to stay in character as much as you possibly can, just because of how they're trying to make an immersive environment. Um, uh, I don't know if you've used a boffer weapon or if you used kind of like how most of those weapons were, where it looked like an actual weapon. Um, I'm just skimming through some stuff. Sorry, skimming through some stuff while I'm trying to talk and whatnot. I mean, I know there's quite a bit I'm going to talk about right quick before I switch over because I'm going to try to bring in another LARP that I've heard about and whatnot to try to explain that one to, look at differences and whatnot. Um, well, I mean, would you be up to go LARPing again? That's another thing. Is um one of the main things that happens with LARPs is the plot and stuff have to be able to come up with something that people will be willing to come back to. To show people that the game is really good, or the game is worth you coming back. Or you know what you could do? You could easily just come live down here, and then I'll just take you. I'll take you up to go play Exodune. Or sorry, I should probably start with this. All right, so Exodune is a Victorian gas lamp. It's a Victorian steampunk gas lamp warp. Basically, it's a Victorian era steampunk. It's gas lamp because it's not like too steampunk, but it is steampunk. It's Victorian era with like revolvers, and if possible, and by if possible I mean like depending on the race and stuff, you could get some kind of like magazine fed gun but it's very unlikely for that. All right, so let me switch back over so you can see what I'm looking at. All right, so this is part of the player's handbook. All right, so a hold. Hey, if you could always come down here, get a job, and then we can split rent or something. All right. So a hold is um when a hold is called, it's not specifically going to be just because you don't know what something means. Um, a hold is specifically just a way of saying pause right quick, something is going on. Um, I will say for a fact I've dealt with this with one where it was an act we actually had to stop for a sec. Um, I'm sure that you can kind of guess when you're swinging things around and there's guys there to, let's just say someone didn't exactly get hit in a good spot and we had to stop for a second so he could breathe. Not gonna say who it was, but again, it's happened multiple times. When you get into the fact of doing the battle, and you're battling, it doesn't matter if you're a monster or a player, it can get hard to remember that you're fighting a normal person. You're not actually fighting like a bandit or some kind of slime or some shit, and accidentally strike in the wrong spot. um, all right. So the way Exodune handles stuff like that is men and women are handled two different ways. So with a guy, um, it's wrist from the wrist to the tip of your fingers. If you get hit there, you don't count damage. If you get hit in the neck or up, you don't count damage. Right? No, I think it's the neck. I think you can hit somebody in the back of the head because that's for waylay, which is basically you knock somebody out. Yeah, it was a nut shot. It wasn't fun. Anyways, um, um, ankles from the ankle down doesn't count mainly because it's kind of cheap to go for the foot. Um, and the crotch, that's definitely a no. Um, for the women, the boobs, they don't count that as damage. And then you're not supposed to hit them in the crotch, but again, shit happens. All right, and then again, wrist to tips of the fingers, neck, and ankles down. Uh, if you get hit there, you don't count damage. Um, when somebody calls lay on, that means game starts back. Oh, game starts back again. Um, if you go down, and I'm only saying this because this over here, life, death, and body points. Actually, it's right. I'm gonna talk about this. Anyways, yeah. So, when you go down, you don't yell for a medic. When you go down, you call for a cleric, or you can, any kind of other like healer-based name other than medic. Medic is for a medical emergency. So you're bleeding, you're literally bleeding, or or something like that. You'd call for, somebody would call for a medic. If there's somebody who's literally unconscious on the floor, you'd call for a medic. Um, I've actually had to stop a game once for that for a medical. Well, it wasn't really a medical thing, but it had rained the night before, and we were doing running through the woods. We were being chased by some shit that I'll explain in a little bit. Yeah. Um, we were being chased for something, and I stepped in the one hole on the entire fucking road because it was so dark and I couldn't see anything, and twisted my ankle, and I had to actually stop. I couldn't actually go on with that at the moment because I was in pain. It wasn't something like that was so bad that I couldn't do anything the rest of the weekend. It was mainly just at that moment I was in pain. Um, so what happened is my character became a quote unquote what was it called? Fuck, what was it called? Life of the party? No, live with the party. Basically, as long as somebody else from the party survived, my character would be counted as having survived that and not died. Um, and again, it was fine. I went and sat back in tavern and got me some water because again, I needed water after running, and I'm not exactly the best in fit person at this point. I'm losing weight. I'm still a big boy, but I'm losing weight. I've lost maybe 40, 50 pounds, somewhere around there. I'm trying to get skinny and running again. um, all right. So again, with headbands, this is all mainly just. I mean, I don't know if every game runs this specific way, and again, I'm going to look up some of the stuff for it. But again, headbands is a specific thing that we use mainly because of again, dark. When it gets really dark, you can't see it. And lately, we've actually started using these little LED headbands. So like $5 from Amazon. So and it's really easy to see in the dark or and in the morning. So the headband is white, and they're actually wearing it. Then they're out of play, meaning that they're not actually there for your character to see. I have never actually seen an orange headband, but that's because I think a lot of people don't really um, a lot of people try to be medically fit to be into the combat. I'm sure that there may be some people who literally can't do combat, and maybe it's because of some actual medical condition and not just because they're not maybe it's because of an actual condition and not specifically because they're hurt or something. Um, all right, so the next one is I can't fucking stress this enough. I've seen this shit so many times and it scares me. The light neon blue ones represent creatures or players who are in the twilight. The twilight, think of the upside down from Stranger Things, and that's basically the twilight. So, the twilight, there are creatures inside the twilight. I think they've mainly been described as all being evil. Um, you will know when there's a creature in the twilight about to appear. So, most of the time, most of the times, if somebody doesn't have blue headband, they'll have two claw weapons because I'm sure that that's basically what they really use. Because again, it's just all twilight creatures. Yeah, it's yeah, you're good. You can eat them. All right, so and they'll have the two buffers crossed over their head. When they start seeing phasing in, they'll count down. It's usually phasing in 3, phasing in 2, phasing in 1. When they say phasing in 3, your character in game can see something's there. When they say phasing in 2, it's kind of you can kind of see it more. Phasing in 1, oh, that's a fucking beast. I'm out of here. The only way to deal with them, the only way to hurt them, is a magic. Whether it be magic fire, it's got to be something magic. If you have a magical weapon, that'll work too, but it's got to be magic. I think there is specifically a spot in this book that says that. I'm only probably going to go only past this area, and then I'll tell you about the different links because weapon links are always different in LARPs that I've noticed. Hold up. Oh yeah, okay. So this one I have not actually seen this one yet.
Is it normal burgers or what is it?
Deer burger combined with deer sausage.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure it wasn't like stuffed or shit.
No. All right. So, if you see somebody wearing green headband, usually fire is magic. Actually, there's somebody in the game who can shoot 3 fireballs at a time, and it's 5 damage each. That's 15 fire damage, and it's magic. All right. Yeah. So yeah, green ones are invisible. People that are invisible, I can't really. I don't really think that I've ever really seen somebody who was invisible, or out of place seeing somebody who's invisible. Physical contact, before you actually go up, before you actually do something physical, like if you're gonna walk up and like wrap your hand around somebody or something like that. You usually you'll put your hand over, turn your hand into a fist, put it over your head, and ask, "Are you okay with physical role play?" Yeah, it says it there. Do you accept physical contact? Right there. Right there. Sorry, my dog really doesn't like this mouse, so she keeps kicking it. All right. So if the player says yes, then you can do it. It's not an invitation to beat someone up or anything similar. It is an allowance to help enhance the roleplay. Um, I can't remember. There was one time we actually did this. We actually did that specific part. Oh yeah, somebody had asked if because somebody had like a little gas from Minecraft, like the little plushies, and they asked if and the person had asked me if I allowed physical contact, and I said sure, and all he was asking was if it was okay for him to put the plushie on me, so he did that. And, again, it's the whole thing of asking before you do something like that, in case there's somebody who doesn't want that. Again, combat is it can be dangerous. Um, oh yeah. Another thing, they don't allow. Okay, so you can only deal damage as fast as you can call the tag. You cannot, if you start trying to say it and you're tongue tied, at that point you're calling it too fast. You need to call it slower. It's a way for them to make sure that you're not just going to sit here, softly tapping somebody to do a shit ton of damage. Um, yeah, charging is also taboo. Do not, please don't fucking bum rush people. That's all I'm gonna say. Please don't bum rush people. It doesn't matter where the fuck you are. Don't start bum rushing people at LARPs, please. Um, yeah, right here. There are areas in the human body where you should never aim your attack. Accidental hit is okay; they're going to happen, but don't specifically go for it. Okay, no, yeah, there it is. Okay, yeah, the head. Okay, I thought it was just. I wasn't sure if it was just the neck or if it was the full head. So you don't go for the head. Yeah, I'll be literally dead. All right, so you don't specifically aim for the head. If you're calling out a waylay, usually you're going to strike softly on the back of the head as you're calling the waylay. You're not gonna like full strike. Um, this one, yeah, yeah. You also cannot. Oh wait, never mind. Okay, cool. All right, cool. Yeah, so you can pin somebody's weapon, but you have to actually still ask for the physical contact. You will still get hurt in game if you grab the weapon. Dragging is another thing. I'm gonna not talk about this much because this is different and everything. I will talk slightly about it. All right, so um, if you go up to somebody and you tap them and you say dragging, that means you can move very slowly. You don't unless they are physically telling you to do it. They will stand up, and you'll sort of pretend like you're dragging them as they're standing up, so that way they know where you are at that point. But you have to slowly walk. If there's two people dragging, you can make it do a normal walk. Um. All right. So for the life and death, you have your armor value. You have health. Once your health goes to zero, you're unconscious. If you're no, I think it's once your health goes zero, you're actually bleeding. I don't remember. Hold up. Once you reach one body, you're standing at the threshold of death's door. Basically, you can walk. You cannot run, and you cannot perform complex tasks such as most battle skills. Uh, yeah. Basically, you're fighting to stay alive. You can still defend, attack people, and find a way to heal yourself, but you are hardly battle in effect. If you're reduced to exactly zero, you fall. Yeah, okay, yeah. If you're at zero, you're unconscious. If you're at -1, or if you fall below zero, you're starting to bleed. You have, I think it's 1 minute of bleed and 3 minutes of death. 5 minutes. I'd say okay, 300 seconds of death. So basically, trying to figure it out. Hold up. Trying to see 60 seconds. Okay, so you have 60 seconds where you're bleeding, and so as you're down, you're counting out in your head. You're not out loud, not out loud. You're counting in your head that 60 seconds. Once that goes, you count as dead. You have 300 seconds then until the worst part of it all. I was last game that I went. I think this was in August because again I haven't been in for quite some time, and I really want to go back. All right, so I was at I had already passed my 60-second bleed. I was at 250 for my death. I was in a corner of the room that nobody could see because we were all being attacked by like giant scorpions. I had ran in to go help somebody because somebody else had gone down. So we went. So me and somebody else ran in to drag them out, and I went down, and nobody noticed that I went down in the corner of the room. Um, After that 60 seconds of bleed out and that 250 seconds of me being dead, somebody finally noticed that I was the one person that was not in the group that had come with them on this adventure. And at that point, somebody noticed that I was laying on the ground, dead. Um, and so people came in. They battled off the fucking scorpions, killed them, and then they got me out and noticed that I was at dead. And there was only one cleric with them, so the cleric had to use a spell to bring me back to heal me because a normal bandage won't do shit when you're dead. Um, if you get to the point of counting to that 300 seconds, you are gone. You cannot be healed. Nothing can heal you, and basically what happens is you dust. Your body literally turns to dust, and your body reforms in the twilight. The place with all the scary monsters that can only be killed with magic. Um, if you follow a religion, which is really hard not to do because again, there's 25 gods, and most of the time, half of them are like walking around the fucking world, just out in the fucking plane. Um, So anyways, the whole point of Exodune is you have for some reason you walked through a door and it was actually some random ass portal. It wasn't originally a portal. It was like my character. I worked in a bar, and the whole reason of me getting to Exodune, which is the name of the island that the entire game takes place on. All of this, my character had been told to go down into the basement because there were rats and shit, and we were told to go. Me and somebody else, who was also new that day, was told to go down to the basement and kill the rats, and we get food. We'd get paid in food and alcohol. So we walk through the door, and then we're told we portaled, and it says, "Oh, well, fuck." So we walked into a basement, and then when we walked out of the door, we were standing in the middle of a tavern with a bunch of random ass people we had no idea was in there. We didn't even know where the fuck we were. So we portaled onto the island. We had 3 lives at that point. As you level up, you can get extra lives every once in a while. Yeah, so you can get extra lives every once in a while, and I'm gonna explain that in a second. But when you die and you dust, you lose one of those. You leave all of your possessions on the body behind. So, meaning, not only are you going into the Twilight, which is a place where only magic items can kill these shits, but if you had a magic item, it's not on you. It's on your where your dead body was. So the point is you have to literally run. You have to find. Um. You have to find. I think it's you got to find a temple. They're not required to be fully in play while on the long walk. It is recommended that you do remain in play. Yeah, because again, the Twilight monsters can still attack you. If they kill you while you are in the Twilight, you're fucked. Basically, it's just you're gone. For like you're completely gone. You don't just lose a life; you are gone. Um, if you're in the Twilight, nobody can see you. You can't phase into the material world until you find a temple to respawn at. Yeah, you have to go to a point of resurrection, out of play, and then return in play and await the reformation of your body. Basically, you'll sit down, you'll rehydrate yourself, make sure that you're hydrated. That's the main thing at this LARP is you gotta stay hydrated. There is so much movement. Um, every game that I've gone to for them, and I know that they always do this. It's not just because I go there. Again, this is every game that they've done that this game has done. There's always water. There's always water in the tavern, which is basically where everybody will go to socialize and wait for people to come in with an adventure for us to do. There will always be water, and it does not cost anything. And it is usually like on during the summer months, it's water with ice, and oh my god, it's some of the best water that I've ever had, just because it's water with ice in the middle of summer. Also, whenever your body is reformed, you can't remember anything that happened during that. Yes, you don't have any memory loss as a direct result of death. Um, the only thing your character will never be able to recall are the events that happened while you're unconscious, bleeding to death, or at dead. Other than those three instances, you will remember everything. You will remember. So while you're unconscious, bleeding out, or dead, just once you dust, you start to remember. So you remember everything you saw while you're in the Twilight. Among all of this scary shit. Alright. Returning to the mortal realm is not really that hard. Um. So, calm. No. 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 Alright. It's not really that hard. Like I said, to get back into game. The hardest thing is finding the temple. Um, but once you've gone to one or two events, you start to understand where they put the temples, and then at that point, it's just really easy. Um, there's three or four priests. I'm gonna say priests or priestesses because there is a female priestess, um, of some of the gods in town. Most of the time, they will all have a temple set up for in case if you die and you need to be revived. Um, I had no idea about this part here. About no, I had no idea about this part here. About if you're out of lives, you can still continue with just walking around in the Twilight. Although again, that's not a very smart idea because Twilight Beast. Okay, here it is. So humanoids will gain one life every 3 levels. Your max your max amount of lives is at level 18. Demi-humans gain a life every 2 levels. That's gay. Their max is at level 12 though. Uh, we folk gain one every 4 levels with their max at 24. Same with Farborn. Wild ones gain one at every 3 levels with their max at 18. Yeah, so um, if you're not, if it's an NPC, they only will have one life most of the time. It is the only people who are given the 3 lives are the players, mostly because of the fact of we're supposed to be. It's supposed to be something about becoming. The way I see it, and the way my character sees it, is he is a champion of his goddesses. I have to. I'll explain some of that in a second because again, it's my character. I built my character to be really fucked up. I'm not gonna really go over that or that. Or yeah. So the Twilight is an eerie gray world where souls go after death. Things here are nothing like they are back in the mortal world, and because of this, no character's soul here can affect the mortal world. The Twilight is often to most nothing more than a myth to those in the mortal world, mainly because again, the only people who can go to the Twilight, apparently, I say apparently because again, fucking in play shit. Anyways, apparently the only people who can go to the Twilight are the adventurers, which is again the players. Because most other people only have one life, meaning when they die, that's just it. Melee combat. Oh yeah, again, guns are a thing in this. Um, in the trailer I showed, there were people using bows and stuff, stuff like that. That doesn't really exist much anymore in Exodune, and it's not because it's bad. It's mainly because it's hard. Okay, so one, it's hard to get bow tips that are actually safe, that are actually padded safe enough for it to pass inspection. God, my fucking my brain. It's hard to find a weapon that will pass inspection at Exodune for those tips. Another one being because a lot of the stuff that we do is inside of buildings. So having a bow inside a building and trying to shoot that at a distance because you have to be far enough back. You can't just specifically point blank range shoot somebody with one of them things. Even it doesn't matter how safe it is, it's gonna hurt at point blank range. Um, yeah, bows don't exist much anymore in game, and it's kind of sad because I really wanted to use a bow when I started going. What do you mean? Can you see me? I can see you typing stuff. Um, all right. So shields. So if you got a normal shield, let's say somebody's attacking with a sword that does 10 damage, you'll still take damage because your normal shield can only block 9. So you're taking 1 damage because of the fact that 10 is stronger than that 1. No, yeah, I'm looking at it on my phone, so the chat can't break on my phone because I'm hooked straight into YouTube and not to that stupid app. For a second, I think it was broken because it just now showed that you said no, leave me to death. Unless you literally just said that. Killing blows. If something is unconscious or is stuck in a specific spot, like maybe it's let's say somebody shot it with a freeze spell and it's now frozen. And you go up to it and you put your buffer or your weapon on it and you say killing blow 3, killing blow 2, killing blow 1. Once you say killing blow 1, if nothing stops you before you say that, that creature is dead. Um, One of the main things that I have to explain constantly, and I'm not gonna say that. But it's something that doesn't get done much. Is once something is dead, If the threat is gone, search the fucker. When you search someone, it takes 10 seconds to search, but when there's 8 people in a room and you're searching, it's not going to be that bad of a thing because you've got 8 people to protect you while you search to see what this thing has. It could have medical supplies. It could have the thing could have medical supplies, money. It could have maybe bullets. I've seen them where they've literally had. You could actually search them and find weapons. You could literally take the weapons. I've had it where people have done that too. People have taken the weapons from the monsters when they were dead. Yeah, right here. It'll take 10 seconds. Um, I don't think I've actually dealt with somebody saying do it when I say I'm searching. Which, if they say do it, that means you literally have to search them as if you were that character. Where did all the races go? Wait, what page am I on? I'm on 26. Okay, that might be why. Oh yeah. So another main thing. Don't break other people's shit. Um, if you do actually go up and steal somebody's stuff, um, you give them back the actual weapon, but keep the tag because that means that you stole it. But again, just a way of going, a way of making sure that you're not stealing somebody's stuff and then forgetting to give it back. Um, every player must do a monster shift, which is basically just you're playing as the monsters or the people that are trying to attack town, or heck, it could even just be you're going to walk. They want you to walk into the tavern, say hi to everybody, sit there, and just do nothing, and that would be your monster shift. Um, Most of the time when somebody has never LARPed or is brand new to Exodune, bitch, so damn needy. Most of the time when you are very new to the game, maybe this is your first game or something. Um, ow. You are told to just full monster an event, which basically just means you go the entire event being an NPC, so that way you can sort of understand how the callouts and stuff work, how combat works, stuff like that. Um, I mean, it can be very easy. It can be a very good thing. Very a nice thing too. Yeah, you can actually duel if you wish to duel somebody. You can duel somebody. You'll just call zeros. So like if you're trying to get used to calling out the tags, you can ask to duel somebody, and then I know you're needy. You ain't gotta say nothing, and then so that way you and the other person can get used to strike, or if you're the new person or not, you can get used to striking at the right amount and calling the tag as you're striking, because the tags can get really weird sometimes. Let's see. Out of everything, I use a bastard sword swinging at a 5 because I have a bastard sword proficiency. So this tells you how to actually build them. So, like, if I wanted to build another bastard sword, I need 4 metal and 2 non-metals to craft it, which fucking sucks. You also have to have you have to have the ability to craft it, meaning that you need blacksmithing, metalworking, non-metalworking. There's a skill I'm missing. Fuck, I can't remember. And then you need the schematic for that said weapon. Most of the time, you're not going to find schematics, but I guess I think right now that we're not finding them because of the fact that nobody is actually a builder. We've got a guy who's actually at the moment going toward trying to be able to become a gunsmith, which is really good. He wants to be able to craft magical guns, which is some bullshit. All right. But anyways, yeah. So I use a bastard sword and I use a spear. Spears do 3 pierce, meaning I go through armor. You there's only a few weapons. In fact, there's only okay. These are all guns. I'm not gonna count those. Thrown weapons can be blunt or pierce. Most of the time, they're not gonna be a pierce. Pole arms is a two-handed weapon. You're striking at fours, striking at threes with one hand. But you also have a lot more range with a pole arm than you have a spear. I guess spear's max range is 62 inches. I think I don't remember. Everybody in the game, no matter what you're wearing. Well, actually, I'm not going to say no matter what. No, most people in game will have at least 10 for their armor. As again, cloth gives you armor. Uh, you have 4 because you have 2 arms, 2 feet. That's 4. You get an additional 2 from your torso. That's 6. You get your neck, your head. That's 8. What am I not counting for limb? It's supposed to be 10 armor. No idea. Oh well. I mean, just wearing normal clothes gives you armor. I mean, if you want to go out, if maybe if you by chance know how to use leather, you can make you some leather armor. There's a guy in game. He's got like armor that actually like glows red, and he's a fire element. Maybe? Question mark. Don't fucking remember. Anyways, yeah, he has armor that glows red, and it's really cool because it's actual. I believe it is actually leather armor with lights in it that cause it to glow red. I don't remember if he was a fire elemental or if he was actually a demon. I don't remember. I don't think it was a demonkin though, because I think I pissed him off once by calling him that, and he corrected me. At the moment, I run a humanoid. I don't know much about makeup. But you got humans, half elf and elves and half elves. These are not snobby D&D half elves. Right, these are not snobby D&D elves. They can be snobby, but most of these are not. Um, they can read and write common, which is good. Common again is English. Um, full elves get all 3, but do not get read write common. Yeah, so half elves can only get one of these 3, but elves get all 3, but do not get the ability to read and write common. So again, you can either be good at all 3 of those, which is resist, sleep, charm, and stealth, which is good. Resisting sleep is a very helpful thing. Charm, it's been used like I think twice overall that I know of from since I've been there. Stealthy hunter. I don't remember this one. Elves can buy the first 2 levels of the tracking evasion skill at half cost. Okay, that's what that one was. I could not actually remember that one. Oh yeah, deep elves. These ones were really cool. I don't think we actually have one in play. These are basically like yeah, these are the nobles. Yeah, these are the noble elves, but they're kind of like Fae, or they're seen as kind of like Fae. Wise ambitions, phantasmal lights. Yeah, they can produce a magical light source that allows them to see while in dark areas. This is figured by a glow stick, not a flashlight. So you'll actually have a glow stick that you have to use, and that is your light source when it is dark if you use that ability. Orcs are a playable race. I think there was two spots in that trailer where there was an orc in play. Hobgoblins, they're really smart goblins. They're intelligent, organized, and aggressive. Normal goblin, it's a fucking goblin. What did you expect? We folk, you got halflings. You're actually expected to have fur on the top of your feet and your hands. Dwarves, large beard, even if you're a female, and a fat nose. Not a long nose, a fat nose. The long noses, I think, go to goblins. I think. Yeah, pointed ears and a nose. Alright, gnomes. The gnomes are actually my favorite because a gnome can actually change its size. You can be normal sized or you can be short as fuck. You know, you can be I think wait, no, not gnomes. It wasn't gnomes. Was it gnomes? Shit, I can't remember. Give me a second. It should be in here. What was it? Was it gnomes? No, it was not gnomes, I don't think. What was it? Got brownies. These are kind of these are just gnomes with these are fairies that are really good with talking to animals. Got normal fairy. Oh wait, okay, no, this is what it was right here. It was the Fey Glamour. I think it's an actual Fey ability, or is it just a fairy ability? Okay, no, it's a fairy. It's a fairy ability only. So a fairy has the ability to either be the size of um, Tinkerbell, the easiest thing for me to explain, or to appear to be a normal human. So when they get knocked out or anything like that, they go back to being a normal size. Um, a fairy can actually drop its glamour and ride on somebody's shoulder. It's a very good idea most of the time. I say most of the time because it can go bad. Fairies can fly. They're born to be sorcerers. They can actually learn up to 4 spells at a time. Wild ones. First thing you get the feline. Um, the, you're literally just a Khajiit. That's the easiest way for me to explain it. Khajiit. Um, a more humanoid Khajiit. The gnolls. Uh, they don't exist anymore. Is the easiest way for me to explain it. Um, Minotaurs. It's a Minotaur. It's kind of obvious. Lizard folk. Lizard man from D&D. You're a lizard. You can resist toxin. Excuse me. You can resist toxin. You can resist sleep, and you're thick-skinned, meaning that you actually have an armor straight out with a tin, which stacks with any other armor that you have. So you start out with 10, plus you get, if you're wearing cloth armor, you get the 8 from that. So you're at 18 armor just at level 1, which can be really good. Yeah, but their problem is that they cannot wear metal armors. They cannot wear metal armors or they will take a -10 body penalty. Farborn and the Elmonis. Farborn, Demonkin. It's a fucking half demon. Celestialkin, half angel. Elamani, these are like elementals and fairies, and they're little shits. Sometimes, depends on the one. Fire ones are really aggressive. Air ones are very, very rarely seen. There is an Earth Elamani in play, and she's the sheriff of the town, and it's the most funniest shit ever. Her skin, the way she explains it is her skin is literally made out of gold. No, her skin's the color of gold, not made out of the color of gold. Um, yeah, everlasting loyalty and amazing defensive abilities. Um, the main problem is that you cannot inject them using a syringe. You have to actually bandage them. Because again, her skin is made out of metal. So therefore, it'll break the syringe. Water Elamanis. Kind of like a mermaid. But Yeah, they counter poisons. Yeah, bluish green skin. Some show light layers of scales and pointed ears, but no gills. Here's the actual. Where is it? Yeah, so this is like a brownie. I think it was. This is a gnome. Gnome, halfling, dwarf, feline. And I think this one was an Elamani. I don't remember. I don't actually remember that one. You can take cultures in the game. Just gonna go through all of this because there's no reason for me to explain through all of that. It would also take way too long. Different areas have different cultures. I should probably wait until I find the map, so I can explain some of this stuff. Depending on where you're from will depend on what you wear. This is all the religions. I'll go through some of them. Uh, Daylight, warmth, and truth. Hold up. Let's go with this. I hear this. Loyalty, protection, and the sun. So Trom, the male Trom, is loyalty, protection, and the sun. Gadamus is war and madness. A lot of Gadamus's followers are very much like gladiators, basically gladiators, hardened soldiers. The guy with the glowing armor is a follower of Gadamus, and yeah, it's a lot of fun. If you've got a cleric, this is the cleric here. If you've got a cleric, they're gonna be an Ashton most of the time because Ashton is one of the biggest powers when it comes to being the clerics. Just because, again, it's the life and rebirth. They're specifically based on healing people. See if we can find mine. Armadillo, death and loss. She's like Grim, which is one of my followers. Armadillo is kind of like Grim, but again, it's different. They're slightly different in their followers and whatnot. Yeah, cold and of a Spartan interior for Armadillo. This one is where mine is right here. There it is. Murder, tyranny, discord. The lady in red. Her temples are dark, clean cut, and often vacant. Shrines are a few and far between, but most major cities have temples to the Lady in Red, often used as a meeting ground for the less savory leaders of rival factions. Her priests are literally just fucking cold-blooded killers, calculated murderers, or agents of unrest, and in a constant state of stirring up trouble. Again, the goddess of fucking murderers, okay? You gotta understand. I ended up creating my character as a just complete weird amalgamation of shit that shouldn't be right. My character follows Grim, who is murder, tyranny, and discord, and Filter at the same time, who is purity, law, and innocence. The way I ended up explaining this was basically just my character's parents had died in a alchemical explosion caused by something. I believe I specifically stated that it was goblins, but it didn't really matter about that. It was just they were killed by a alchemical explosion, and so he had to walk through the deserts of New Zealand all the way into Barbroy, and I think it takes 3 or 4 months to do that. He was also like 8 at the time, and along the way, he finds a weapon. I haven't specifically been able to pinpoint which weapon. I believe I'm going to try and go for a spear. But again, it's going to be kind of hard because I have to find a spear that is safe for game and that they will allow. Um, and this weapon it's a normal weapon, but at the same time, it's I want to say cursed, but it's not cursed because that would mean that it'd be some kind of crazy magical weapon. But basically, he creates a friend in his mind called Freed. My character's name is Sieg. Sieg is peace, and Freed is victory. No, I think it's the other way. No, yeah. Sieg is peace, Freed is victory. So he named the sword Victory. Um, and as he's walking along, the sword just starts talking to him for some reason, and he goes along with it. He sort of talks to the sword because there's no one for him to talk to. He's in the middle of a fucking desert walking. So and eventually he finds out that the sword really likes to kill things. My character follows filter specifically. And my character doesn't like killing things. He's trying to get to the point of being better with the law and whatnot. Exodun's laws are different than New Zealand and Barbroy's um, laws. So he's got to get switch over into that mindset of it's a different set of laws. No, we're not victory screeching. Nobody is going to victory screech. Any time that it's really hot outside and we really wish that it was raining or something, all you'll hear is just people screaming praise Kobanaglu. Or anytime it starts raining or we get ice, we sing praises to Kobanaglu. Just because of Kobanaglu being the god of cold, winter, and water. It's kind of funny just hearing people like really tired and sweaty and shit screaming out praise Kobanaglu and then drinking cold water. um, a lot of these I don't really hear much, to be honest. Vox is dead. I do remember that. I remember hearing about utility, but that's only if you're a merchant, really, or merchant or craftsman. You'll be at when you create a character, you'll be asked what your character zodiac is. Each zodiac has special things. Mine is down here. It's hard. Arachne. I actually wanted to give him the mine, but not a single bit of this is my character. So I gave him this: I'm jealous, obsessive, suspicious, manipulative, unyielding, meticulous, smart, cunning, and observant. Um, Arachnes will like to break the rules. Um, it's not a specific of you have to do this. It's not a specific thing of your character has to do all of this, and has to love all of this. But it's supposed to explain some of the stuff that your character would be into and doing. So again, I'm building this character as he's trying to learn the laws, but at the same time he's gonna fucking break something. All right, so in order to work a weapon, you have to have blacksmithing, metalworking, low, medium, or high. the not metalworking high? Oh no, it's right here. There it is. Non-metalworking low, medium, or high. And again, this is real time. It will literally take a whole fucking year to learn non-metalworking high. It'll take a whole fucking year to literally learn metalworking high. Um, yeah, these, and then you gotta grab one of these. Gotta grab one of these guys. If you want to make weapons, you have to have a weapons of whatever size. Let's see. I think really mine is a medium, right? I think for most of the people around. Yeah, spears, battle axes, long arms, swords. Most common item in this group is the long sword, but it also includes battle axes, long arms, ammo, and spears. Yeah, so what I'd do is I would grab this first level, which is cost 3. Alright, sorry, the XP cost is 6. So I would have to have 6 experience plus whatever it requires me to have. And then in order to use it, it's a skill cost of 3. So I would first need blacksmithing. I have that already, actually. Now I just need to grab these. I think mine is this. I would need this. So it would take me 12 weeks to learn this. Literally 12 weeks out of game. It would take 12 weeks to learn that. So, it can be hard. Gunsmithing is another thing. Again, you can craft guns, but you have to literally be able to craft ammo, or the guns you're making are fucking useless. So again, so we've already got a gunsmith in game. He's going to. I'm sure he's probably going to go through and learn most of this stuff. Probably my character. Yes, I'm trying to build combat, but at the same time, I need to be able. I want to be able to smith things. I want to be able to help the others in game to get items. To be able to get better weapons and stuff, so that way they can take on harder enemies, even if I can't. But me taking weapons medium, I can use that to craft long arm ammo. I think really it's that. We really need somebody who can craft pistol ammo. I believe it was, which is this small arms ammo. Yeah, so me grabbing both small arms and small and medium weapons would help out the group so very much, because then we don't have to worry. We don't have to keep spending all of our money on buying ammo. Basic engineering stuff, boating right there. Boating is the thing. Calligraphy, artistic skills. There's a character in game, no lie, who used up skill points to grab the skill of seduction. But it kind of makes sense. She's a demonkin. Kind of makes sense. Haggling, scavenging has been very useful recently. Survival is not a overall thing. Survival is you are good at one spot. So like I have. What are you doing? So I have survival force. I think I have survival force 1, meaning I know what mushrooms are good to eat, what other smaller things are good to eat, stuff like that. But I also have survival twilight, which means if I'm stuck in the twilight, and that's all again more shit about the story that was from last season, and we call them seasons. But last season it was a big story, and shit went down. Um, Trying to remember. Healing is another good thing because again, healing is a very important thing in this, especially for newer start people who are just starting out and who haven't been in there the whole time. It is a very important thing because again, like right now at level 3, of course you're arguing with yourself. All right, Deadpool. Anyways, me at level 3, I have 18 health. I think there's people in game who have 50, 60 health with like 30 or 40 armor. I mean, it's people in game who have been there for a while have really good stuff. And a lot of times it's really hard trying to fit in when you're just going down constantly. People are having to waste supplies to keep me alive. But it's not just me going down. There's more than just me who is newer to the game and who go down easy. Um, I mean, we're almost always getting new players to come in, who are coming in and trying things out. Um, oh, cool. We're finally in combat. All right, let's see. Where is it? There was a really good one that I really liked. Oh, yeah, disarm. So if you hit any part of the person, you say disarm, and you specify what they drop. If you specify what they drop, they have to drop that weapon. If you don't specify what they drop, they can choose one. But again, you've got to drop a weapon in 5 seconds until you can pick up that weapon again. I didn't know this one. Oh, I had no clue. Oh, that's why I didn't know about it. It's 12. God damn, that's disgusting. I mean, I understand why. Severing blow. Yeah, there you go. It's extremely devastating. It costs 18 skill to use it. You can actually sever. Yeah, you can sever a limb from a body. Trick shot is really fun because you can disarm with a gun. Waylay, you can knock somebody out. Weapon parry, weapon proficiency. This one, I have a small damage. So right now I'm going. So again, I went from 3 piercing to I'm calling 4 pierce. Um, Another option again is going from the 4 pierce, the 4 slash bastard sword into a 5 slash bastard sword. Um, you earn experience from going to an event. Um, you get experience from doing your monster shift. You can buy new skills. Most of the skills you have to find somebody to train you, meaning you have to figure out who sells, or no, sorry, not who sells, who teaches that stuff. So like, for me, somebody using, who's wanting to get into blacksmithing, I have to find a utility, a priest or a priestess of utility, because utility is construction. Utility is ow fuck my back. Hold up, ow that hurt. All right, utility is the god, is the goddess of construction. Which means that most of her followers are going to be those who are good at building things. All right. You can have multiple characters. I don't remember what that is. Most of this other stuff is just, you got magic. There's the different kinds of magic, the different schools. I don't do magic just because I didn't really get much into it. A full day to learn detect magic. This one right here. This is what I was talking about. Yeah. So another thing, you have to incant. You have so for some spells you have to actually say an incantation. I think most of the time it's just a 7 word. These are incantations that are most common amongst executing casters. I think it was like 7 words mainly. I think it's usually 7 words. I think it's usually 7 words. It doesn't specifically have to be, with elemental fear. That's it. Wait, hold up. I'm sorry. I needed to zoom in on this one. Hold the fuck. With elemental fury, I smite you with a flame bolt. I might need to send this one to. Well, that's a typo. Give me a second. I'm about to send this picture to the Discord right quick. All right. Let me send this to the chat right quick so I can figure out if anybody else has noticed the typo. All right. Let me see if let me see if I can get a reply from this one. All right. Yeah, it's supposed to be with elemental fury, but it says it with elemental fury, which gives me a bit of a chuckle because I didn't see that. I did not expect to be reading that one. All right. Um, I think one of the most common ones is fuck. What was it? Oh wait, hold up. Let me this one. All right, so repulse. This is the most. This is the most fun. This is the funniest spell that you can ever get cast, either on you or by you or against you, as one of the most common incantations. This is not the common one. Is I don't like the look of your face. Repulse. So what the way that you cast it is you will literally say the incantation. So again, in this case, it's I don't like the look of your face, and then when you throw the spell packet, and then you say repulse. If it hits and is actually able to go through, um, basically the thing can't go can't has to stay within 10 feet of you, or within it has to stay at least 10 feet away from you. That's it. If you break line of sight, I believe it's if you break line of sight that it drops. I don't remember if it's line of sight though. I do not remember this one specifically. Yeah, this one. Yeah, directed concentration. You have to be staring at this creature for that to affect. Another one, bind is a really good one too. I think that is actually pretty good. The pretty good one of the common one is that one. God, why are you always grabbing words? What the fuck? All right. Um, fear. Yes. I don't even think this one usually. I don't think I actually hear this one uh with like incantation. Either that or it's usually in the middle of battle and I can't hear shit. That's another thing is if you're in the middle of a battle and somebody calls something and you can't tell what they're actually saying, don't be. You're literally. It's perfectly fine to put your hand over your head and literally just straight up ask them, "What did you say?" And again, most of the time they will repeat what they said, so, or at least a spell, so that way you can understand what you're supposed to do. As again, it is sometimes really hard to do that. Life is the main one that I have had deal with me, and that's not even a fucking joke. That's the incantation. You can put, yeah, but it's also a kind of hard one to deal with because you have to actually have dust from somebody dying to life someone. Yeah, so if somebody dies and turns in dust, you're actually meant to pick up the dead person's dust and use that to life someone. um, there is divine magic. I mean, power. The gods themselves, like I said, walk among the players. Heck, two. I think it was the last game that I went to. Somebody had actually come up to me and told me that Grim was walking down the fucking road. My character. It wasn't specifically my character's goddess, but it was the weapon that he uses technically worships his goddess. So again, there are the powers will walk around. And if you decide to be a dumbass and piss somebody off, well, can you guess what's going to happen? I'm sure it should be quite easy to guess what's going to happen. Cause wounds is really scary. Especially when somebody causes this shit. Fucking cause serious is no. Um, Cure moderate, cure blindness, cure critical. Cure critical is a really good one, actually. Cure disease. Destroy undead. Speak with the dead can be a good one. Okay, yeah. So this is right here. This is the chart of the starting weapons. So if you want to start out with a scattergun, you have to have something from this chart, or something. Stop fucking clicking. Or something that someone in staff has specifically stated. Is fun to have. Carbines, the crossfire bow, is a counting as a carbine, which is again a really weird thing because it's a fucking bow, but it's a futuristic bow, so I understand why they are calling it a carbine. Yeah, this one, yeah. Firearms can break, can jam. You cannot use a firearm to block damage. If they get hit with over 5 points of damage, they break. Yeah. Again, ammo. The damage, how much ammo you actually get when your starting amount. So, like, let's say I was using a shotgun, I'd get papered bird shot, or I could get papered buckshot and only have 2 shots, or I could get papered slug and only have 4 slugs. But that's 8 damage. That's 8 piercing damage. These are pretty good ones too, though, because these are burst pierce, which is again really really good ones. If you can hit. It does actually cost time, like actual in-game time, to craft items. Yeah, this is skill points, time required in seconds. It can take up to, what is that, minute and a quarter? Yeah, minute and a quarter to create high-grade, metal mastercrafted armor. I actually thought it was gonna be longer than that. But whenever you go to craft or go to buy stuff, you'll go into the plot cabin. But as you're going to the plot cabin, you have to make sure before you even go up there to call out that you are a player on deck, meaning that you are a player going into wanting to go into plot cabin. Basically, the reason why is because this is where plot sleeps, meaning if they've got stuff set out for an event or for a mod that you might go into, they kind of need to know so that way they can tell you whether or not it's fine for you to go in. So that way they can make sure that you're not going to walk in and just deal with and be able to see what they're all have planned. Do I need to come over there and stab you, you fucking weeaboo? I swear, you have like the brain capacity of a 3-year-old sometimes. I just want my map. Alright. So some of the easiest ways for me to explain it is, let's see, where is it? Let me go back up. Alright. This is the island. I don't actually know much about Reverend. I don't hear much about it because again the place my character actually lived in isn't exactly um friends with Reverend. Canada is 1800 Japan. Kimonos. New Zealand, it's Arab. Saudi Arabia is the easiest that I've found. It's a bit, it's Arabic clothing. Oh man, what was Fa? Oh no, Fa is another. Okay, Fa is the next island. I'm trying to remember words. Darken Wood. It's woods. Kinsley is I don't remember. I don't hear much about this or this. Barbroy is Wild West. Yeah, this is a Minotaur land. Swamps, home of the lizard folk. No specific spot. Um, Gretchen, Sinian Islands. Mirth. Mirth is a place where laws don't exist. Is the way that the way that I can explain it easier is just laws don't exist. Mages, Tinkers, Inferna. Well, there's a lot of places that I don't. There's a lot of places I don't know about. There it is. Okay, that's what I'm looking for. Let's see. Yes, this is all New Zealand here. The very bottom of the planet. So basically, my character would have had to have walked to the coast and then gotten a ship over to here. Where Barbara is. So he had to walk, from where he was, which I think, actually, no. Where was he? Shit. I haven't specifically placed him on New Zealand, but I'd say he'd probably be right around here. So he had to walk to the coast, get on a ship, and then go over to Barbary. And so my character does have a sort of weird sort of clothing. It's kind of awkward with how I did it. Um, so this is their way of showing each area and its populace based on race. Again, New Zealand is literally just humans with 20% slaves and 23% of others. That other could be really, I think it's really anything. Yeah, you really want to make sure that you do some research on where you're going in New Zealand because a lot of times it might just end bad, and then you get to be slaves. I mean, who doesn't love being slaves? And then so he moved into Barbary, which is a bit. It was a really awkward time for him because again, you still got a lot of humans, but now you got to deal with. He's seeing dwarves, orcs, goblins, and gnomes. He didn't used to see that on New Zealand. Um, yeah, this doesn't exist anymore. At 21% nulls, they're gone. I'll have to explain that later on. This is all the timeline. I'll have to explain that on later. I think I'm just gonna have to create another video probably tomorrow. And I'll just do some explaining on some of the other stuff, and then talk about something else. Uh huh. No, I'm pretty sure I can think of them. But yeah, that's extra doing it in a nutshell. Um, all right, that's at least the game. I haven't talked much about the actual. I haven't talked much about the actual in-play game. I will need to. I want to make sure that it's fine with the group if I talk about stuff that happens in games and whatnot. Because again, a lot of times it's kind of weird with that. I just texted on the forum and said, "Hey, where's the new handbook? I don't know how to give elemental furry." Yeah. A lot of times, if you haven't been to a spot, or you haven't been to if you weren't there when something happened, and you go to ask about it, you will be told FOIP, which means find out and play, which literally just means either ask somebody and play and hope you don't get fucking stabbed for it, or shut the fuck up. It's just a way for them to explain the fact of your character's not going to come into this world automatically knowing this shit. So there's no reason for them to tell you, because again, your character's not going to know this shit. Your character will have to find a way to figure this stuff out. Then he will know this shit. Anyways, yeah, I'm gonna get off of here for now. If I find something like to actually game, then I'll game and I'll record it, but I'll have to record it on Facebook because since this software really just likes to tell me to go fuck myself and record things on overlap recordings. But yeah, I will talk to you later. Bye.